Hey, all you Forexers out there, welcome to the first module in the Attract pillar of our course. You have defined your why. You've set clear goals that fit with your market area and that stretch you a bit, right? And are exciting, right? And you've taken time to read through those and you're paying attention to them and you're reminding yourself about why you're doing things and you're checking your goals till you get those pounded into your brain. You're doing that, right? You're doing that every day. You are armed with the correct mindsets in order to move forward with confidence and empathy. Super important. Plus, we've given you specific tactics to make money quickly. So, now I have a question for you. What do you think that we get paid to do? What is the one skill that pays us the most? If you're to break it all down to the basic core of what we have to do every day, what is that? We talk. We talk a lot, or we should be talking a lot. We speak to a lot of people. The more people that we converse with gives us a better chance of making more money, right? Does that make sense? Conversing with people is what we do. It's what we get paid to do. So as a result, meeting people is what we must do in order to talk to people. And as we meet more people, opportunities present themselves. Creating ways to meet people is your goal all the time. When you're in a setting where there's a chance to meet new people that may need you, your mind has to be tuned in to listening for opportunities to make that happen. Does that make sense? Remember, we're in the people business. Learning the art of conversation is a key skill to take advantage of every single opportunity. And by the way, how many people do you need to meet every day? What's on your goal sheet, right? 2? Is that right? We need to know what to say in all situations, knowing what to say, right? We meet people in so many different ways. At open houses, we have an opportunity to meet both buyers and sellers, believe it or not. When we receive a phone call off of a sign, we're meeting someone for the first time on the phone. When we get an email inquiry on a listing, that response that you craft is the beginning of a conversation. Organized events, settings where people are in a mode to actually meet people and learn about each other, for example, like Chamber of Commerce events or service organizations. It's important to be good at effectively conversing with people. In those circumstances, I find that a lot of sales professionals internalize in their minds that it's compared to speed dating. You know, you're not sure how long they're going to stand there and listen to you, so you have to take this opportunity to tell them all about yourself to get them to like you first. Then, if you wow them with how amazing you are, then hopefully they'll stick around and become more curious to learn more about you. You see the problem there? This is what most salespeople do. They're always selling, right? I was the same. I used to say this all the time. We are not salespeople, but if we're selling anything, we're selling ourselves. I had to correct that mentality. The truth is, most people are truly more interested in themselves than other people. That's the truth. They're interested in what they want to know. They're interested in talking about their favorite subject, which is themselves, their needs, the things that they care about. And the funny thing is, we actually have that same urge, don't we? And this is where you need to think outwardly in order to begin to win trust and start the foundation of relationship with that person. The most memorable conversations to them is one where they had a chance to talk about their goals, their dreams, their wishes, their passions. And when you give them that space to do that, you will solidify and create a positive experience with that person. And then you become then associated with that positive experience. Does that make sense? The truth of the matter is that most people won't actually remember all the words that you said in the conversation. But they will remember how they felt during that conversation. They will actually forget most of the words that you say. They will remember the important details, but all of that other stuff is going to fade away. It's funny, huh? But it's true. But what sticks is how they felt. So what's the next challenge? Okay, well, knowing what to say, right? I find that this is always a challenge. I mean, let's face it, we don't always relate to every single person, or the synergy may not naturally be there every time. If we aren't careful, we'll fall into a habit of talking about something that's exciting to ourselves and maybe not too exciting to someone else because, well, it's easier to talk about, right? Because it's something we know. This happens when that person asks you a question about yourself that propels you into this 4-minute tangent, right? And the only time that that's going to be okay is if they are in fact like you, if they have the same interests like you, if they like all the same things that you like, then you're going to make a connection and it will go okay. But you can't rely on that, can you? Because we know everybody's different. And it's too limiting to think that the only people that you can have a good conversation with are people that are just like you. That's not going to help you grow your business. Here's the first thing to understand. In an interaction where two people are having a discussion, it's important to be aware that the person asking the questions is the person that's actually in control of that discussion, conversation, interaction, whatever. They are driving the conversation. You need to be the driver, not the passenger. So, how do you gain control? You ask the questions. When they give you an answer or talk about something that can spur another question. So I want you to create a new habit, a habit of being curious about other people. Become truly curious, become fascinated, become interested, create this desire to know more about other people that you come into contact with. If you get into that mindset in every interaction and genuinely become a person who is curious about other people, you will naturally ask the questions that spur a conversation. It'll just come natural to you. Now, if you're not used to that or you're not in that mindset normally, it takes practice. And it's not easy for all people. And it's not natural. So we need to practice. And this is something that you can practice. This can be learned. It's a skill that can be learned. The best thing about this is when you're practicing, no one really knows that you're practicing. You don't need a script partner. Every single person is your partner. Find an opportunity to do this every single day, every day. Do this every single day more than once, but at least once. Here's some ideas to help get you started. These are just examples, just to get you thinking. When you arrive at the office and you say hi to the front desk person, ask 2 questions about them and just see where the conversation takes you. When you talk to your children about their day at school, see if you can ask questions to get more complete answers out of them rather than fine, good, is okay. Be curious. Ask and learn about their interactions with their friends and teachers and just get a deeper understanding of their lives at school. Talk with your spouse. Ask more questions than normal. Get deeper. Understand his or her day a bit more. Try and understand their day. Share in the victories and the defeats of the day. When you're in a restaurant and you're talking to the server, ask some questions about themselves to spur a bit of a conversation. Not in a creepy way, but out of genuine interest for that person. When you go to the bank and deposit all your checks, and you interact with the teller, try to take notice of something to spur a conversation and try to leave that interaction making an impression of some sort. And these are just a few examples, but there are many, many, many more. Start to see the world. Just start to see the world as a place of opportunity and see every person as an opportunity to chat. Just chat. Just get into a chit chat about something. It doesn't matter what the subject matter is. Don't force the issue. Just simply create a habit of being chatty with people. Oh no, I'm not like that. It's not my personality. Don't try and sell them a house. Don't try to sell them on yourself. Don't attempt to tell them all about yourself. Just practice having a meaningful human connection. Make sense? Now, you've heard the saying, practice makes perfect. We've all heard that saying. But I say that practice creates new habits that will make your life better. And it'll pave the way for you to become more effective in your life. I don't believe in perfection. There was only one person who walked this earth that was perfect. None of us are perfect. Here's another quote. An ounce of practice is genuinely worth more than a ton of theory, right? What types of questions are the best to ask? The best answer to that is whatever's important to them. Consider them. Whatever will help you gain a better understanding of that person. First off, let's talk about types of interactions, okay? Let's face it, there's many different ways that we come into contact with people. Every single time that we do, there may be an opportunity to capitalize on, right? Nothing should be squandered. Based on your targets, you may have set a goal that you need to meet two people per day, right? Okay, great, that's the goal. Meet 2 people every day. How can we add people to our list? What counts? Who is list worthy? Everyone. We already know the 10 and 2 rule, right? So if we know we're already eliminating 8 out of 10, then focus on 10 so you can get the 2. And this is the numbers game that everybody's talking about. But I've heard things like, oh, for every 100 doors that you knock on, you may get 2 maybes. Yes, that's daunting. It's a whole other numbers game thing. I agree. The thought of that totally sucks. It does. The reason for that is that it's a cold and difficult C activity. The odds are stacked against you in those scenarios. Okay? All right. So here's another tool that you're going to get. This is called a contact card. So we have the list. When we get the leads, we've got our leads list. And then we have the contact card. Contact card is next. This is going to help you start to understand what a lead is and move them from just basically a lead to someone that you're starting to do things for, and then you start to gravitate them, okay? The contact card is the start to everything. And I've designed a contact card that will help you with your business. It's a tool, okay? And this is something you really want to get familiarized with. And they aren't anything until they become a contact card. The goal after the contact card is that they go into a file. So this actually potentially is the start of your file, okay? Now they can go from here into a database management program, or they can go into like an actual physical file, or however you operate. But this is the start in my mind, okay? Now when you first meet people and you want to understand things about these people, you want to ask certain questions, but you want to remind yourself what you're doing. So if you're on the phone with them, you've got this sheet to kind of help drive you to get through where you need to go, okay? So we've got the basic stuff: name, address, email, home phone, cell phone, referred by. That's important, okay? Because we want to make sure we reward referrals. Could be another realtor from another area, and it could be a past client. But then I've got all the different ways that you can meet people, and then there's a blank for writing in some other ideas. You start to track and understand how your business is coming in and what's most effective. Okay, does that make sense? Then what kind of lead are they? A buyer, a seller? Are they potentially both? Or are they just going to be a strategic alliance? You should have a file of strategic alliances, or a database management area where strategic alliances are there, and you intentionally work with those strategic alliances. We'll talk more about that later. Are they an A+, which is hot, needs to buy 30 to 45 to 60 days, and you're in motion, you're doing stuff with them? That's an A+ client. Another A+ client would be a strategic alliance. Another A+ client would, and some people may gravitate to that after you've done a deal with them. You want to define who your A+s are. These are the people that get the special gifts at Christmas, and maybe they get a pumpkin in October, or you may do dinner with them once in a while, or have a coffee with them. These are people that are like raving fan clients. You need to nurture them and always make sure that you're keeping that fertile to get more leads. Anyway, and then you have your notes. This notes section is really important. This is where you are writing all the stuff you're talking about, all their needs, all the things that are important to them, the little nuances, kids' birthdays, husband's name, wife's name, are they married? Are they whatever's going on in their life? What's a transition part of their life? All that kind of stuff from a conversation you've had from asking lots of questions. Okay, so the contact card is the start to everything. This is a very powerful tool. This gets you going. And then here's the activities after you've met them and you've got some notes on them and you've figured all this stuff out. Here's your follow-up activities. Okay, so that's all there. And then the goal is to get them into listing agreements, contract to purchase and sales. Did you enter them into the database? When's your first meeting booked? Back burner, did they go to the back burner? That's fine. Put a date in there when you're going to get a hold of them. They said, I'm not doing anything for 6 months. When are you going to contact them? In 6 months? No, you're going to contact them a lot quicker than that. And you're going to have a plan for that. But we need to know if they're a back burner person, and we'll put them in the back burner area, and then you do some back burner work once in a while. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so let's talk about different types of leads though. Where leads can come from. Let's talk about the possibilities. This is the exciting part. Okay? How do you meet people? Who do you need to converse with? Right? Let's get excited about this, okay? So I call this kind of like a funnel, right? This is the hopper, right? So you throw stuff in the hopper and it comes out and eventually becomes money. Now, they may sit in the hopper for a little while and get jammed up, but the ones that plop through is the money. That's how you get the money, okay? But where do you meet people, okay? So you've got past clients, right? Now, if you've just gotten the business, you may not have too many past clients, but you start right here. This is your first circle, okay? SOI, okay? That's you and your world, okay? When you first get in the business, that's you and your world. That first circle, that's family and friends and whoever's kind of in your immediate circle. And everybody says, oh, I know lots of people, so I'm going to be great at real estate. Or I love people, and I love talking about real estate. Or I really love houses, so I'm going to get into real estate. And that's the reason for getting into real estate. Just understand that talk that you're having that says that's why I'm getting into real estate is your box. Okay? The world is a lot bigger than your box. Your little box, your little world. Okay? The world is way bigger than that. And we need to tap into that and create opportunities for that. And there's way more people that are other than just the people you know. Just the people you know are people that are just like you. And they share your same ideals and then that's it. But you got to get outside of that box. Okay? Once you're outside of the box, there's an amazing amount of opportunity out there. Okay, so let's just start talking about things. So what do you start doing, right? You start doing open houses, right? Out of open houses, what happens? Right? Out of open houses, you get to meet neighbors, right? That is huge. That's future listings. They aren't a pain in the butt. That little curious Nancy that comes into your open house and she's curious because she's all nosy Nancy, right? She is a potential opportunity. Nurture that. Get to know Nancy. She knows everything that's going on in the neighborhood. Get to know Nancy. Nosy Nancy. She's awesome. And then we got buyers, right? And some of these people, you may meet some buyers. You may meet 5 buyers from one listing. You may meet 5 buyers. Only 2 of them buy, but you got 3 that you still kind of know. And they're not ready to do anything yet. Those other 3 can actually be referral sources. Believe it or not. Did you know that? Have you thought about that? Or you just let them go because they're not doing anything right now. That's why the back burner part of things is really important. You still want to nurture that relationship to get that chance for referrals. I have had people refer business to me and other clients to me many times that have never done business with me. So always nurture those relationships. Relationships, guys, right? Relationships. Okay, what else? So all of this, so this is all about kind of the people you meet, right? It's all about meeting people. What other settings can you meet people, right? You can force the meeting. You can create opportunities to meet people, right? So you start with FSBOs and expiries, right? You can go to events of some sort, right? So, and events could be like a social type stuff, like Chamber of Commerce, or if you're part of a service organization like Rotary or Lions Club, stuff like that. I call it events because they call it like meetups, right? There's opportunities to meet people, and everybody in those situations wants to meet people, right? So there's those opportunities, and then from your open houses and from your listings, right? You start doing some social media stuff, right? So you got Facebook and you got Instagram and you got LinkedIn, all those things. So you're promoting listings. And so you're getting yourself out there that way. You're talking about your life as a realtor. People are getting to know you through that world, and you're bringing more people into your outer kind of edge circle through that. But through all of these different ways of meeting people, and let me just list off some of these things. You have a listing now, so you're getting sign calls, office calls. Office calls happen all the time. open houses, past clients, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, neighbors, ad campaigns, farming, FISBO, expiries, different events that you go to, through developments that you're marketing, builders. Is there builders out there that need a realtor? Investors, project, your farm. That's a whole other thing here over here as well, right? And then office leads that come in through different email programs or lead generation type programs, or the office just has a lead come in and they're figuring out who to give it to. There's that kind of stuff. Your church, and you don't go to church sitting there trying to get leads, but you will inadvertently get leads if you're a member of your church and you serve and you do well and you meet people. One of the gifts of serving at your church is actually getting to meet people and become part of a family. It's an amazing thing. It's a gift that you don't even think you're getting. You think you're doing a whole bunch of giving and not any getting. What you get is you get relationships with people, and it's absolutely amazing. It's an offshoot that you never even think about, right? And then eventually maybe those people will do business with you if they think to do something, if their life is changing and transitioning for that. Volunteer efforts, educational events where you meet other realtors from other sources. There are so many different ways to get leads and meet people. Lots of different ways to meet people. So you always have to be thinking about meeting people. You got to get outside this box and making all these things happen, and then things start coming into the hopper, right? And as they start coming in, just keep filling the hopper. Now, the thing about desperation and where people go through situations where buyers are liars and they have negative things happen with people, or they try and force business with people that shouldn't really be doing business yet, or, is because they don't have enough in the hopper. You got to keep loading up the hopper. Just keep loading up the hopper. And then you're never worried. Just keep loading up the hopper. Keep loading up the hopper. Does that make sense? So as you start doing things for people, you need a place to keep it all, right? The work, the research, the communication, all that. So we start with the contact card. And these are active hot files until they cool off. And some may go cold, and then you may pick them up again in the future. Everything should be in there though, to remind you what you did for them, the conversations that you had. And we'll talk more about that stuff as we dig into things more through Attract, but I just want you to see the process, okay? The evolution, an interaction of some sort, okay? To a name on your list, right? Your 2 per day you want to get, to contact card, to a file, to an active working file that's hot, right? To an agreement, to a sale or a listing. And then ultimately, the commission check, right? If you finish Mindset Mastery, you know that there's so many different ways that you can meet people and leave some sort of impression. And we can't possibly cover every single different way to meet people, but I want to get across to you that there's always opportunity. And in every setting, there's a chance to plant a seed. We can never control the overall result. We can't grab a blade of grass and make it grow faster, right? But we can plant. Does that make sense? And there are situations in your life right now where people would be considered personal and familiar. And these are people that are in your circle, people that are within your sphere of influence, and maybe a slight layer outside of that, maybe people that are not part of your everyday life, but you kind of see them once in a while and you know each other's names, but it's pretty surface, right? These are people that are perfect for practicing conversations with. Consciously think of ways to spur a conversation with them, be genuinely interested and curious about them, and get a deeper understanding of them. Do it. Just see what happens. Social settings, business meetups, settings, or if you're part of a service organization or church or volunteer group or sports team of some sort, that all falls into the category of personal and familiar as well, okay? These are opportunities. This is great practice too, right? If they think of you as a high quality individual, someone who is genuine, someone who thinks outside of themselves, they will refer business to you when an opportunity arises, and they come up more often than you know. But you need to be that person. Become that person. We attract to us what we are, not what we want or desire, right? Until we become worthy of that. Does that make sense? Okay, so the contact card is a really important tool. Okay, implement this into your business, and it'll become a tool to help you not have anybody fall through the cracks, and you'll start to move them through your process. Does that make sense? And oh, by the way, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Fantastic book. A fantastic book. Dale Carnegie wrote this. This is almost like a manual. You should read this book once a year. It's an amazing book. So just throwing it out there. So there will be moments when you have a discussion with someone, learn about what they do, and you inadvertently will meet other professionals that are in the business of helping other people, like accountants, lawyers, financial planners, and other service providers like that. And we deal with a vast array of clientele in our businesses, right? And we run into people that would be perfect candidates for those people all the time. Do you agree? We are a fantastic resource for them. Does that make sense? So with that in mind, does it make sense to get to know their business philosophies, their absolute favorite and ideal client, and get a clear understanding of what they can accomplish for people, like get an understanding of what they can do for people that you serve? Do you think that that could be of help to some people that you come into contact with, your clients, as well as the people that maybe you can come into contact with that become referral sources and ultimately maybe people that do business with you, right? Listen and learn so that you can capitalize on potential opportunities to connect people. If you become a connector of people, you'll become a valuable resource for both sides. Now you're positioned differently in the eyes of these people, right? You never know where a conversation will lead you. But just about every single time, there's some sort of opportunity if you're listening for it. And you may not be selling them a house today or listing their house tomorrow, but one day you will. And before that opportunity arises, are there other opportunities that you can capitalize on? Do they know someone who may need your assistance? Do you know someone who can help them with something? Do you know someone who would be an ideal client for that person? Do you know more about these people now in order to become a person of value for them? This is how you create relevance. I would even go as far as asking the question like this: Hey, John, I run across people every day that may be a good fit for your business. Tell me, who is your ideal client? And then just shut up. Shut up and listen. Make notes. If your philosophies align and you think that this person will do good business and make you look good if you refer business to them, then actively try to steer people their way and see what happens. Now, real quick, here's my take on referrals. I've seen people try to get money from other professionals and vice versa for referrals. This is my opinion. I think that's kind of crossing the lines. From realtor to realtor, totally fine. That's how we do business. That's how we make money. And we disclose it to the buyers and the sellers, and it's all good. But crossing industries, to me, it gets a little fuzzy. And here's my approach on this, okay? First, one, do you disclose it to your clients that you're getting a kickback or a gift of some sort of compensation or something like that for referring them to that person? And if not, that's wrong. You should be letting them know. Here's the test. Think about it if your client found out later. Do you think that they would be really happy about that if you're getting some sort of compensation and then you actually tell your client up front? How do you think that sounds to them? If it was me, I would start to doubt that this person is being referred to me and it's that they would be best for me. You know what I mean? What's your motivation for the referral, right? To get money or to do what's best for me? I've had numerous service providers, such as financial planners, mortgage brokers, offer me a referral fee of some sort or some sort of compensation. I tell them, you know what? I don't believe in that. I just want you to do a fantastic job. Take care of my clients. Make me look good. Do whatever it takes to wow them. Make me look good, and that's all I need. I want my clients to feel that they can come to me and trust that I'm always going to lead them in the right direction. Always. That's what I want. That's all I want. I don't want money. I'll make money from the business I do. And at all times, I want them to feel that my motivation is constantly to create a positive outcome for them, even if it's not me necessarily doing it. Does that make sense? You do your business the way you want, but I just wanted to chat about that real quick. Okay, so this is the approach I take. But maybe think of it this way. These people can become your strategic alliances. Okay, so they're kind of over here right now. But you get 10 of these. I say cultivate 10 strategic alliances and you will always have business coming in. If you got one referral a month from your 10 sources and added 10 deals a year to your business, would that be a good thing? I think so. Abso-friggin-lutely, right? I have some strategic alliances that refer close to 10 a year to me. From one strategic alliance, I've got one that probably refers 10 deals a year to me. And this is very important. But you need to cultivate a great relationship. They must like and trust you. And you also have to refer business to them. Does that make sense? This is the law of reciprocity. A Forex agent understands the law of reciprocity, right? If you're thinking outwardly with real curiosity and genuine interest in other people, the conversation should be relatively easy. Remember the mindsets that you need to employ. And also, with information, you become empowered to figure out how to help people. It becomes your superpower. However, in circumstances where it seems a little bit tougher to get things going, I default to something called form. Okay. Okay, form. F-O-R-M. Family, occupation, recreation, message. I learned this about 25 years ago, and I found that it was really helpful for me. I was quite young, didn't know how to have proper conversations. So this has always helped me warm things up to get a conversation going. Family, occupation, recreation, message. Think of all the questions that revolve around the subject of family. Family includes loved ones, partners, other important people that may impact a buying decision or life change decision, right? Does that make sense? The word family is simply to just spur your mind into action. It doesn't mean it has to necessarily be family. It's just whoever impacts that. If you're talking to someone and they're alone in an open house or whatever setting, and it may be a good idea to find out if there's another decision maker, right? Or find out if they have children or what age and what ages they are. And these things factor into buying decisions and life change decisions for sure. And if they're a single professional, are they relatively young? Well, maybe parents get involved to help them. Or they're newly single, right? Is it from a divorce or a separation or an untimely death of a loved one or something like that? These are all factors that drive a conversation in so many different ways. So the word family brings with it so many different paths in order to have a conversation. Do you agree? And then next, that leads us to occupation. Okay, so do you and your wife both work? Okay, that's cool. So do you have to commute then to get to your job? Has she looked into a transfer to this area? Or maybe we learn that moving to this area will allow the wife to stop working or the husband to stop working. If there's a motivation there, are they moving up? Are they downsizing? Have all the kids left the house now and it's time to cash in on the big house and then maybe get into a gated community or downsize a bit because they're retiring in a year, and retiring is exciting to them, right? So is there motivation with that? Help them set things up so they can retire well and make a really good decision, get as much cash as they can to help them have a good retirement, right? Okay, so we're starting to understand their needs a little bit. We can work with this. Begin to formulate a plan in your brain that you think can help them, right? Does this spur more questions? Yes. Next, we move on to recreation. Recreation covers so many things, right? If their downsizing is traveling a burning desire for them, if they want to travel more, then maybe they want to be in a community that is safer, right? Like a gated community where neighbors are looking out for them, or maybe in a condo building or something like that. Or maybe a place that's low maintenance, right? The landscape's taken care of, for example, so they can go away for 6 months and know that everything's taken care of. If their children are big into football or hockey, or then maybe the type of school they go to may be a huge factor in their decision. And then where they need to look for a home. That affects the neighborhood that you have to drill down to, right? And you now understand the motivation here as well. Are they really into golf or fishing? Maybe there's something that you can relate to there, right? Maybe you like golf or fishing, and that's a point where you guys can kind of have a conversation and get deeper into that and get to know each other a little bit. Possibly. Maybe that's the connection that you're waiting for in the conversation. This is where you get to talk about yourself a little bit, right? To show that you relate and you understand them. And that creates a connection, relevance. And they start to see you as a human being who's just like them. And that's the purpose of the conversation. And if you've got to this point, you've earned the right to go deeper at this point. They're letting you in. You'll notice their body language is much more different than the start of your conversation. They're relaxed, they're trusting, they're leaning in. They're nodding with you. They have friendly eyes, right? Your interaction is now made up of a bunch of mini goals. Think of it this way, right? Create mini successes in every interaction. But before I get into that, I want to tell you my goal. Okay, let's see if you think that this is a good goal. Okay, my goal is to get into a conversation with someone, and I make a connection of some sort, and I'm just enjoying the conversation, and then they suddenly start to ask me questions about myself. They're so enthralled with our exchange that they now genuinely want to know more about me. I've passed the sleazy salesman to nice person to someone they want to know more about. And I believe that I've now earned the right to take it to the next level at this point, right? My goal now is to impress upon them that I'm now someone who can be of value to their lives. And if I can get to this point, this is a contact card person. I now need their contact info to send information to them that is relevant to them in order to help them. And it should feel natural, right? In most cases, they feel the same way. Good goal? I think so. This is always your goal, okay? Figure out how to serve. Figure out how to serve. And then we have message. If we get to this point in our conversation, things are going well. I want to get a message across to them now, okay? The message being the message that they want to hear. That's the message. Based on all of the information that I've just obtained. And I may still ask a few more questions at this point, deeper questions, but these questions are more about kind of getting into obtaining permission. Would you find it helpful if I sent you some information on houses in this area? Are you in the research stage right now? That's a really good question, because they're going to nod and go, okay, good. That's not like buying. That's research, right? That's safe. That's a safe question. But I find that people that are in this stage, they need information in order to sit at home and do the numbers, etc. So I'm happy to provide, or I'll say something like, hey, I'm happy to provide some information to help you through this research stage if you like. Or I can put together some information that blah, 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 right? It seems to me that this is really important to you. Let me get some more information on that for you. This school or this, finding a doctor, whatever, right? Would you find it valuable if I did that for you? Would you find it valuable if I did that for you? How do you say no to that? Do you need someone to help you out right now that knows this area well? Right? Use check-ins. Nod your head. Does that make sense? Would that be okay? Can I do that for you? Check-ins are like confirming permission. 9 times out of 10, they will nod as well with you and say yes. Because who wouldn't want someone to do something for them, right? If you've effectively summarized their needs, then they will agree. They will agree every time. Why wouldn't they? You see the language in that? It's all about them. That's the message part. A benefit to them. You've just spent the whole conversation trying to uncover what they need, their motivations, their why. What would be important to them? What you can do to help them in some way. Focus on that and watch what happens. It's amazing. When you see the transformation occur, the levels of trust that are beginning to get built. This is the foundation for what, right? A relationship. A relationship. So you see, you don't have to be really special or have a winning personality if you just focus on the other person. If you consider yourself shy and timid or an introvert, it doesn't matter. It's not about you. You're not a factor here. No matter how shy you are, if you are genuinely interested in learning about people and figuring out how to help them, then you're going to overcome your shyness. Any personality type can converse. We all need human interaction. We need human connection. It's a basic human need that we need. And making people like you feels good. It actually feels good. So how do you do that? You learn to enjoy interacting and learning about others when the opportunities present themselves. They need you. You can be a valuable asset in their lives. Just think of it that way. Family, occupation, recreation, message. This will help spur any conversation, but it brings you through the levels. This is more personal. This is just general. Everybody wants to talk about their family. This is more personal. Now we're getting into lifestyle stuff. This helps us define our message better. Does that make a lot of sense? Does that make sense? Okay, we're going to stop for now, and we'll continue on in the next video at this point.